First with breaking news.
Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Hope you had a great weekend. As you know, security is one of those topics we always are on here, and we had thought that we were going to be able to be talking about the release of the students of Government Girls Secondary School, Jangebe. But sort of a caution, hold it, let's get all our ducks in a row, so the security and the official sources seem to be saying. So for now, it's like we're going to have to hold on that story. We're not too sure exactly whether the girls have been released or not. We would have loved for them to be released. We were ready to talk about that, but apparently we need to tarry a while, as they say. Well, my guest this morning is Colonel Yomidare, retired. He's a security consultant. Thank you very much for coming on, Colonel.
Thank you very much, Yori.
Indeed, delighted to have you. Now, before we move any further, let's take we have a package, a story, sort of, gives a bird's eye view of the whole thing, and then we'll come back and we talk about it. And of course, we'll include your calls as well.
School girls last Friday has thrown parents of the students, the government, and people of the state into confusion. Concerned at the situation, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent his high-powered delegation to the state. He commiserated with the government and people of the state, assuring that his administration has all it takes to tackle insecurity in the country. The president is represented here by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika. He says abduction of students in schools will never occur again in Nigeria.
Government is indeed government. It has the powers, the resources, the wherewithal to attack frontally this banditry and events of this nature. Not only in Zamfara or Northwest, the security has just recently been rejigged, and the intent of purpose of that rejiggment will be spelled out in the actions that will follow to end this banditry and acts of terrorism.
The president reiterates his government's determination to improve the education sector in spite of the abduction of students in schools.
These terrorists have found the wrong place to be, in our schools, with children that are below the age of 16, and carried out these dastardly acts. They will not be spared, and inshallah, it will be history.
Governor Bello Matoli of the state blames abduction of the Jangebe schoolgirls on security lapses and lack of synergy between operatives. He demands deployment of more troops, especially in the troubled areas.
Because of the huge landmass of the state and different camps of the leaders of these banditry activities, we need more and more presence of security in such areas. And in fighting of this kind of criminality, we need all security to come on board.
Earlier, Council of Chiefs and Traditional Rulers in the state were at the government house to commiserate with government and people of the state over the unfortunate incident. A prayer for peace, unity and development of the state was offered at the gathering. The federal government has assured of providing adequate security in all schools across the country. TVC News, Gusau.
Okay, so thank you for that report. So there you go, Colonel. The confusion deepens. Contradictory statements, claims and counter-claims. When does this kind of a thing happen? I mean, it wouldn't have been just a stab at fake news that let's just go out there and say the girls have been released. What's your sense of what's going on?
Well, first, thank you very much for having me on board.
Our pleasure.
TVC. I've watched your program very closely, and I think you make a lot of sense here. Having said that, the situation as as it is in our country today is something that is very, very worrisome, very sad. As a matter of fact, I lost words to describe this situation. I recall back in the days, you know, you could travel for kilometers, you know, especially in the north. For those of us who happen to have lived there or have some roots there, you could travel for kilometers, you know, unperturbed, you know. But these days, the story is very, very far from that.
But as you would have seen from that report,
Yes.
Our president says we have what it takes to take care of banditry. I mean, and that should be good enough. Let's say someone was traveling into Nigeria. That's the president speaking. The presidents don't speak lightly. And here you are, you know, as you say, it's exasperating. Back in the day, you could do all those things you said. But now, in spite of what the president says, people are going to be very, very careful.
Yeah. In fact, you just took that out of me. I am delighted and happy that the president himself made that statement, because what I have as my opening remarks here is that this country, this great country of ours, Nigeria, considering the enormous human resources and capital resources that we have in this country, we shouldn't be going through what we are going through. So it's a clarion call. It's a clarion call. And I just pray and I hope that the president will put his words to action such that there will be visible security presence as we speak. Because most of these things that's happening right now, I mean, I don't know whether you are aware. I think in the last 24 hours too, there was also some rescue mission in Ondo, where some kidnappers took some people hostages, and it was with the concerted efforts of the vigilante, and the people were rescued. So you see, this thing is coming home.
It is.
It is coming home.
It's not exclusively limited to the north anymore.
Absolutely. So we all must, you know, put on our thinking cap. And then, having said that, and I start to wonder, I recall we used to have what you call forest guards. Back in the days, we used to have forest guards who are out there to prevent the pilferage of the forest, deforestation, you know, and other criminal activities. But suddenly, they have disappeared.
They probably have been overwhelmed. They probably still will exist, you know, but...
have you heard about any lately?
We've not heard, because the only reason we'll hear is when they engage or do anything newsworthy.
Because right now, everything surrounding the activities of the bandits, of the kidnappers, of the herdsmen, it's taking place in the forest. You hear poor victims recounting their experience.
Yes.
That they took them into the forest, moving, you know. So there's a lot that we need to do here. There's a lot that we need to do. We need to clear these places.
Well, the new service chiefs this would seem their resolve. Even the president had admonished them that, you know, the expectations are very high. There's no leeway. You know, you just got to, you know, achieve your objective. And the Chief of Army Staff has, you know, stepped forward and, you know, indicated that he's very, very much up to the task, wanting to, well, sometimes speaking military speak, get the bees out of here, that kind of a thing. You know, but this is not what we expected at all. And it looks as if the are they really bandits? That's another thing. Because the way they are responding, it looks like they have some strategic room, some strategy room, and are saying, look, this needs to be done. The federal side has done this, and that kind of a thing to show that we're in there. They're saying we're on the back foot. They're saying these are the death throes. We need to show that we're very much here. We're still a concern. It seems, yet we're calling them bandits. Are they really bandits or very well organized terrorists, let it be said?
Yuri, if I have to be, if I have to come straight with you, and that's my, that's my tough, I honestly believe that a spade should be called a spade. There's no point placating anything. There's no point wrapping it and painting it the color. That's not it. These acts are purely acts of terrorism, as far as I'm concerned, in my own opinion. And as far as I'm concerned, I've said it, not on this platform though, not on this TVC, but I've said it in some other forum that, look, these people should be declared as terrorists.
Because that's what they are.
They are terrorists. I mean, I cannot imagine. I mean, I was reading all this idea of negotiating with bandits. I mean, for crying out loud, I think we must not really turn ourselves into laughing stocks in the, in the Committee of Nations. And I'm glad that the president himself, because I read where the president said that he's not granting amnesty.
Yes.
Why would you be granting amnesty? These are criminals, and they should be dealt with as such, as far as I'm concerned. Because by the time, you just imagine, God forbid, if you or I have a child, a daughter or a son amongst those kidnapped kids, I mean, they are going to be traumatized for the rest of their lives.
And again, God forbid,
yes,
if some high government officials' ward were to be kidnapped, oh, then you'd see the army, I imagine the Air Force and the Navy in a different manner altogether. This unfortunately is maybe not just in Nigeria, but is the way it goes, because it's happening to the rest of us, we ordinary people. It's not that they're not taking it seriously, but where is that wherewithal the president was speaking about that we have in order to take care of this? I guess those are the kind of questions that we're going to be asking now. I understand I have a caller. Good morning, thank you. Kizo?
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Long time.
Yes.
How are you, sir? And your guest.
Yes, thank you very much. Go ahead. What do you think?
Yes, this issue, like one of the captors said that she asked them what is the problem, what are they agitating for? And they told her that the promise the government promised them, they did not fulfill it. Meaning, he said after they used them for election, they abandoned them. They did not fulfill their promise. So you see the things you don't take care of, the things you abort to fight for, to work for you for your election, those boys you groom to do your dirty job has come to us. Has come to us, Uncle Yuri. This problem we are facing for Boko Haram to ban it now. They started it. They know where it came from. That is why they say they know the people. They know them. They know them. Those are the people they use for their dirty job because of power. The whole country is suffering because of this thing. All this terrorism you are seeing is act of the politicians themselves. They know what to do. We are tired of this thing every day. How can you stop people from going to school? How can they stop people?
Yeah.
It's not going well with us. I'm in pain when I see people. I cry every day. I cry every day. They should stop using those stuff. When you break talks, they will become a terrorist. They will become they don't see what you are giving them. Because they will come to haunt you again. We should stop it. There should be a mechanism for us to be able to do election free and fair. Because this is coming out of using boys using. Boko Haram started like this. It started from the boys they are using. Now they acquire weapons and they send this weapon they use for them. It's after politicians stop using those These
Yeah.
people use us, and they did not fulfill their promise again. That's why we are going after people.
Thank you very much,
People.
Izo. Thank you very much, Izo. We really appreciate your calling. She says in there that there's a political aspect to it, and is citing why she's arriving at that conclusion,
Yeah.
that direct evidence
Yeah.
from these guys.
Yeah.
So there's a sense in which this is much more complex than the ordinary man would see it. Look at that charge there. We've not been able to substantiate it or debunk it one way or the other, that the politicians themselves are not keeping up their end of the bargain. They think they're high and dry now. And so these people need to show them that you're not high and dry. Now, that's one theory. We don't know how much there is to it. But it has been consistently said that there is more to this whole thing, than meets the eye.
Yes, Yuri, I read what the Zamfara state governor said. He practically, challenged the federal government, and he did say that people will be amazed by the time they reveal, the big wigs behind this banditry.
Indeed. Now,
And I think, I believe that the DSS and all, the security agencies should take him up on that.
Okay, one moment,
They should
please.
take him up on it, because I recall when a former deputy governor of the central bank made certain allegations, he was, interrogated. And I think that, in that position, the governor, after all, he enjoys immunity.
Yes.
Let him speak out, because this thing is affecting the whole country.
It is.
You know?
One moment, Colonel. Somebody came on the line. Good morning, Mr. George, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning,
and,
sir.
Good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, what the statement credited to the president since over the weekend has been a source of surprise to me. Because of the content, Uncle Yori, what he is saying now vindicates what I have been saying on your program for some time. If the president and the government in general has what it takes to tackle insecurity, why did they leave it to degenerate to this level, to a point that people can no longer travel from one state to the other? Uncle Yori, just imagine if there was a child of a senator, a House of Reps member, a minister, or a governor among those children that they are kidnapping in schools. Do you think the government would behave like this? It is because their children do not go to such schools. Is there any House of Reps member that his child is in a public school like that? There's none. So how would they know what the people feel? If the president believes that he has what it takes to tackle them, why does he have to wait till 2 years? This thing did not start yesterday. There was already kidnapping even before 2015 when the president took over government. And we are still where we are now. I must say that I'm not happy with what is going on.
Yeah. Thank you for
He should do something and justify. Okay, he now says it will not happen again. Let's give him 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now and see whether a kidnapping incident will still happen. So it's a challenge. Good morning.
Good morning. A bit angry there because
Frustrated.
That's it. Frustrated. Because who do you want to listen to? They say don't listen to rumors, don't listen to fake news. And then you listen to the source, and you get encouragement, and that encouragement is dashed from time to time. Yeah, the president did say he wasn't going to be. I think they haven't ruled out negotiation. It's ransom paying that they've said they've ruled out. I just don't know. This whole question about negotiating with them, we've heard that it can't be done by force. I don't know. You're a professional in that regard. That it's force alone can't do this. So they're bringing in negotiation, they're bringing in politics. And by the way, I don't know what you think of Sheikh Gumi, who is meeting with them and causing his own stir by the kind of things he is saying. I don't know that there are Muslims and Christians in the army. I just know that there's a Nigerian army. I don't know that people identify in that sort of way. And, as you know, Sheikh Gumi was explaining that he can explain components of the army that were busy inflicting harm on others. Now, I don't think anything could be much more dangerous than that, because I would guess most Nigerians just see the army as one united bloc. It's a symbol, very much like the national football team. That's the way you see the army. But now, Sheikh Gumi, and I want to take your comments on this. But before so, Abayomi has come in. Let me take this call from home. Good morning, Mr. Abayomi.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling. Go right ahead, please.
I think what we should do is this. The Senate and the House of Reps, they have equally done us much more harm than good. I must confess to you. The Senate involves so many people there. We have professors, we have professionals. Why can't they mandate? There is a check and balance in our constitution. Why can't they mandate the president? He's a military officer before. He's the commander-in-chief of armed forces. Why does he not go and spearhead the battle against insecurity? We saw the Niger State, the Niger president, he went. Now this guy is just sitting down there. Then the other senators, they are drinking, eating fat. They have refused to take the bull by the horn. It's terrible. So, Mr. Moderator, you know what you do? Let us call the Senate and the House of Reps to order. It is they that are doing the wrong thing. You see, they cannot sleep and allow, when your roof is on fire, you are now sleeping. Abba, waiting the Senate.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. We've run out of time. Colonel, because we've almost run out of time. The confusing signals that some have received from Sheikh Gumi's intervention and statements afterwards, I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Well, honestly, it's unfortunate that we are finding ourselves in this kind of a situation, because the military that I attended, the academy, nobody cared until even lately, before you start identifying where some of your classmates really came from, because it was one. We did things together. We followed each other to spend holidays and what have you, But again, along the line, all this religion and ethnicity started finding their way in. And some of us, along the way too, fell victim. But let me leave that. Now, let me tell you something. I read that, they were talking about amnesty.
Yes.
And so unfortunate, and the governor of Zamfara, to my mind, is playing to the gallery. Now, listen here. You cannot compare, because they tried to draw an analogy between what is happening in the Niger Delta or what happened in the Niger Delta. It's a different kettle of fish altogether, okay? Because in the Niger Delta, it was a fight and agitation for resource control, and rightly too. Because in fairness to those people, if you have traveled to the creeks, you'll see how impoverished, life is there. You see how people are suffering. You don't even get, water, good water to drink, nowhere to farm. Everything is bad. And yet, their resources is being plundered every day. So those people,
it's a different story altogether.
So, and I think, the then late President Musa Yar'Adua saw the situation, and then he felt so bad, and that was one of the reasons why amnesty was granted. But in this case, so what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Okay, so it's the facts and circumstances are not the same at all. So I do not support amnesty for bandits, for kidnappers. As far as I'm concerned, they are terrorists, and they should be called as such. We have to address this hydra-headed problem, this monster chasing us. We just have to address it with pragmatic realism.
Colonel Yomi Dari, retired, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much on that particular note. We need to come out of the woods on this by addressing it, as you have said, in a pragmatic manner.
Absolutely.
What that is remains to be seen, because we've been at this for more than, quite frankly, about 2 decades. about 2 decades or thereabouts, we've been, you know, wobbling and fumbling with
this. We
this.
need the political will.
I guess that's an even better place to leave it. Thank you very much, Colonel Yomidari,
Thank you so much.
Security Consultant.
Thank you.
Okay, stay with us, please. We'll be right back. We'll take a look at another subject, in particular, health, COVID-19 vaccine. When are they coming in? That's up next.
The COVAX facility, which is free of charge and is supposed to cover about 20% of the Nigerian population. We also have another source of vaccines coming in from the AVAT facility, which is the African Vaccine Action Team. We are expecting about 41 million of that, a combination of AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. Everything we are expecting from the COVAX facility, I believe, is going to be the AstraZeneca, which has a good range in terms of storage for us, because it uses just +2 to +8% of refrigeration. It doesn't come with any complication. We already have that cold chain available in virtually all the local governments and constituency and wards.
So there we have it. About 84 million, he said, is the total commitment, and you know, we'll be getting 4 million of that tomorrow.
Yes.
But as he observed, that's just covering about 30% of our population. So we're going to have to
far below 30%. But you see, the way we're looking at vaccines is we're not vaccinating children to start with. And when you look at our population, we're heavy on young adults, we're heavy on children. Unlike the Western world, that's heavy on older people. So we're looking at 200 million people. We're already know 70% of our population is below the age of 30. So when you look at that, we're looking at those that are above even 30. And the criteria for distributing a vaccine is going to start with those in isolation centers, healthcare workers that are exposed to this, and then every
frontline people.
Frontline people. That's policemen, soldiers, and people that have reasons to move up and down the place. And then doctors, nurses, healthcare workers. Those are the people that will first get the vaccines. And this will not be up to 4 million. So there's still room to get down to more people. Because if you look at it, the isolation centers don't have to, from what we read in the papers, we don't have to 200,000 people there. Our prayer is that the vaccines should be given to where you have the epicenters, Lagos and Abuja. It's Lagos and Abuja that is worst hit. So they should get first. This one doesn't require federal character. We should give to places that have expressed. I mean, Kogi State said they don't have anybody with COVID. So they don't really get vaccines for now among the first 4 million. So they're going to give to Lagos. And Lagos State, I can assure you, is prepared in terms of the cold chain and in terms of getting the vaccine to the people. So it's one thing for the vaccine to arrive. It's another thing for the vaccine to be stored within an acceptable range of 2 to 8 degrees centigrade.
Which we can do, apparently, from what the...
Unlike the Pfizer and the Moderna that needs -70. So with 2 to 8, our fridges can cope if there's light. Or battery, or backup, or solar.
Or generator, or whatever.
Generator now. If it leaves... So from the time it arrives in Nigeria to the time that we have a shot in the arm, we have to maintain the cold chain all throughout. So whether it's going by air, it's going by road, we must maintain a cold chain. And then we need the staff. We need the consumables, the swab, the spirit, the syringe, the needles, and the personnel, and the PPE.
All of which the Secretary of Government is saying we have laid out.
Yes, he said so. He said so. But when it comes to, we know what happens in Nigeria. INEC says we are ready for elections. And on election day, what do we find about materials arriving? So we need to work hard.
Let me not delay Mr. Ade in the UK any longer. First of all, I apologize to you, sir. Good morning.
King doesn't apologize. King of presenter. Good morning. And I greet your guest there today.
Dr. Boyo.
Good morning.
Dr. Boyo. Good morning, sir. This vaccine is not a cure. Nigerians must know that. It's just to prevent you from, getting admitted in the hospital. That's all. And the AstraZeneca is very good. I've taken mine, 1 dose. I'm expecting to take another dose in another few weeks, by next month or so. So it's a good vaccine. So I'm happy that it's coming here. But my worry is that who will get it? Who are the priority people that will get it? In UK here, they started from the elderly people, then the frontline workers, then, you know, all those people that can teach us. So in Nigeria, would they do it politically, or they would put a religious or sentiment, or is it going to be northern now, or whatever? Because if that comes into it, the purpose will be defeated. The vaccine should be for everyone. But unfortunately, what they are getting in Nigeria is very, very, very small. Here we have 400 million here. We're even giving out now because it's too much for us in UK.
Yeah.
So they are giving it out. So, secondly, I want to comment on our security quickly. The security, I said it on General Sago yesterday that it's a business. If you listen to the governor of Zamfara, he said people will be shocked to know who is behind it. It's a business. I said it. But may God protect and protect Nigeria.
Amen.
Keep doing what you are doing, Mr. Yori. We are coming to crown you as the king of world presenter.
Chief Ade, thank you very much for calling in. Very much as Dr. Boyo said, and if you had listened to him, he had told how we will be going.
They made mention of something which I have to emphasize. We're also looking at people above the age of 50 with comorbidities. In other words, diabetics, hypertensives, asthmatics will also be we also have priority. You know, so we need to take note of that. We're not going to give vaccines to young people first. We give to these 4 million vaccines, and thank God more are coming. But we should not hurt them, and we should not have fake ones in town. So we have to make sure that the real vaccines, well protected and kept in cold chain, gets to the right people at the right time.
You know, that point that you brought up there, because unfortunately, it embarrasses me to say it, but we do have to be wary of forgeries in our society. And from that perspective, we're talking about life here, this becomes a security issue. I mean, these things, these vaccines, I imagine the whole chain has to be guarded as if it were currency or bullion. Yes, that's because our people, unfortunately, will get at it. First of all, as you know, we've heard that our people will do fake COVID-free certificates. They do all of that. There's very little that isn't available in Oluwole in Lagos, and I think maybe not everybody knows about Oluwole in Lagos, but it's sort of a euphemism of, you know, for forgery street. It doesn't matter what passport you want. They can produce it, apparently, allegedly, in Oluwole in Lagos. So that whole matter of forgery, when it comes to medicine, it then becomes a horrible, I mean, you know what I'm saying. You're forging drugs so that people might, you know, doctors don't know what they're doing anymore because doctors will think they're giving the real thing. Meanwhile, it's just giving, at best, a placebo. But let me take Tosin, I believe. Did I hear that Tosin is on the line? Tommy?
Yeah.
Toby, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I just want to add respond to the issue of security, please.
Okay, the security. But we're talking COVID-19 now. The vaccines are coming in.
Of course, Uncle Yori, I know.
Okay.
Of course, I know.
Okay, quickly, please.
You see, it will be very.
Carry on, please.
The issue, just like with the first woman that called you, that he said she has said it all. It is our politicians, the talks they are using during our elections. After that, they will dump those guys. And what do you expect from them? They will take the arms they share to them that did not retreat from them. That's the problem. Let us be sincere. Let us be honest ourselves.
Okay. So
the politicians should be held responsible in this nation. Do you understand? And again, the issue of this one is from this side, and the way our politicians are talking, especially the elected ones. Some of the governors, the utterances from their mouth can incite anything. So okay. they have to be advised properly.
All right, all right, Toby. Thank you very much. I can't take any more. You use your time to speak about the past subject, but thank you very much for calling in. Nevertheless, you're underlining Izzo's call. Yes.
So we need to look at the American example, where the vaccines were available, but the release of the vaccines and the vaccines were not getting to the people that needed them on time. So they will release 100 million vaccines, and they found that in a month only 25 million had gone out. Until the government decided to include football stadium and the big pharmaceutical outlets so that people can get the vaccines. People were queuing up. We see cars going up to a mile waiting for the vaccines. So the government has to put in place right now, as the vaccines are coming, where people can get the vaccines, if possible, general hospitals, reputable pharmacies, and make sure that people that need them get them.
So that it can be
you
orderly.
may find at the end of the day, the politicians may get more. People may even say, I have 15 vaccines in my house.
Okay. Yeah, I have another caller. Mazio Korafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr. Boyo.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Doctor, I want to find out from you. Now, how, Nigerians, we are very, very smart. All Nigerians are very smart and hardworking people. How do we identify the real COVID-19? Because why I'm asking this question, because there is need for proper education. That's it.
Sorry, Mazi, the line is not very good, but we got the import of your question. Doctor, I think, to make it short, he's saying, so how do we identify the genuine one, that what I'm getting is genuine? How do you do
so
that?
the government has to start with a lot of community mobilization and getting people to know what the original ones look like. If they're going to label them, they should let us know from now. You see, and this is one thing that happens. We always act too little and too late. For instance, by now, there should be adverts on radio explaining to people about the vaccine, community mobilization, and then people should be able to identify what these vaccines, what they look like, and where they can be gotten. Now, the vaccines will arrive tomorrow by 11 a.m., and for goodness sake, no adverts yet.
And we don't know what the arrangements are.
Yes, as if we are not even sure the plane has left India.
So,
the plane left India this morning, and if you get to Nigeria tomorrow, Abuja 11 a.m., and things will be out. So where will they go to?
I'm sure all of that is arranged.
Yeah, been arranged. But you see, in anything like this, in public health, what is known as attitude, knowledge, attitude, of course, of not liking vaccines, injections, with the story of polio vaccine and the problem in Kano. So we have to get people to know that this can work. They need to take it, where they will take it, and how to identify what the government is giving them. This is the real vaccine.
Time left. So let me just let's just end with that you touched on this whole matter of reticence, the reticence of some to these vaccines. What's your feel of how reticent our people are being, or do we have an enthusiastic population that are waiting with bated breath almost for the vaccines, or do we have guys who are saying, no way I'm taking that vaccine?
Oh, we have a lot of guys saying, no way, they're not taking it, because there is a conspiracy theory outside there, regardless of how we have tried to convince them. And it's only people who have had relatives or friends that have had COVID that know how dangerous this thing is. So the first thing is, many Nigerians believe that this COVID is a Nigerian version, that this COVID is not the one we see in America, people are dying, that there are Nigerians that used to make money. So we need to convince them that COVID is real, put names to the faces, and let them know that it's real. Most health workers will take it. But you find that a lot of people on the street will say they want to kill us. Remember, we still have problems with polio. Polio is supposed to have been eradicated, but people are still having problems with polio.
Simply because of that attitude.
We need to do a lot of education. We have not yet seen enough of it on the TV, on the mass media, explain to people that this vaccine is real. And people are wondering, will it cure me? It's not going to cure you. But it's going to prevent you from developing the disease, and if you develop it, it's going to prevent you from having the very morbid, the very dangerous aspect of the presentation of the disease. So we need to convince people that it's a step forward in putting COVID in its right place.
Okay, Dr. Boyo, thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it here. Thank you very much for coming in and sort of enlightening us about this.
It's a pleasure.
Indeed. So that's our program today. Please keep all the protocols, the anti-COVID-19 protocols, the distancing, frequent washing of hands, masking, and there's one more.
In spite of the vaccine. Even after the vaccine, you still need a mask.
You still need
to wash your hands. You still need social distance and avoid large crowds. Even after the vaccine.
Exactly. And as the whole medical community is saying, of course, it can't hurt to keep your immune system up for whatever that is worth. Thank you very much, Dr. Boyo. And thank you also for calling in and making the program what it is. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Fresh edition. Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.